If it's you're feeling guilt about your relationship with your in-laws, that guilt is taken away. If you're afraid about how people will view you and how you said and the mistake you made, that thing is taken away. So as those things are being taken away, do you know what is happening to you? What is happening to you is that you are freeing up the RAM space for your faith to effectively function, because the most important app in your phone, that's your phone, that is your whole heart system, is your faith, the app of faith. The app of faith. And once space is freed up for your faith to operate, there is nothing that becomes impossible unto you. And once there's nothing impossible unto you, listen to me, you are bold with your expectations. You see, I was watching a program yesterday. Let me give you a good example. I'll give you a good example. Let's say you're a high earner. No, let me not use the word earner. Let's say you've got some good inheritance. And as a result of your good inheritance, you have some good monies waiting for you. Let me tell you the truth. You are not going to be bothered about checking prices, about bargaining. Yesterday night, I watched this program called Rich Kids Go Skint, something like that. And there's this young lady, her parents are exceedingly rich, very rich. And she herself is very rich. She's young, and she started a salon, and somehow the salon is doing so well. So they were showing how rich she is. And this girl has expensive bags, shoes. I don't know what they call this. Something Vuitton or Louboutin? I don't know. But in the program, they were showing, oh, this bag costs 1,500. This shoe costs 700 pounds because of the labels. So this lady, this young girl, she doesn't care. Money is not an issue. She just goes to buy what she likes. And so she's meant to go to spend a couple of days in the home of a poor family. And she arrives at home of the poor family. And the woman is taking this. Please just bear with me, because I'm trying to make an illustration. I know exactly where I'm going, so I'm not going on a rabbit trail. The woman from the poor family is trying to teach this rich child how to manage life. So she takes her shopping, and she buys a bag of rice, which is about 15-16 pounds. She buys a couple of things, and she's haggling plantain. Takes plantain. The owner of the shop says it's 120. Then she haggles, let me pay £1 for it. And the owner of the shop says, yes, that's fine. Instead of 120, pay £1. After this experience, this woman is asking the rich kid, is this the experience you have? Who does the shopping in your home? The rich kid says, it's my mom. So she says, does your mom budget? You know what the young child said? The rich kid said, she said, my mother does not consider prices. When she goes shopping, she just picks what is needed. She does not know about prices. My mother will not tell you does not know the price of rice. My mother does not know the price of milk. My mother does not know the price of meat. She doesn't know. She just says, oh, I want 5 kilograms of meat. And whatever the case is, she just pays for it. Church, why is that woman not bothered about prices?
Because she has more than enough.
Because she knows that she has more than enough. So I'm not going to be bothered. Oh, may God deliver us. I'm telling you, honestly, may God deliver us. Even me, when I go to shop, I'm checking prices. But we'll get to a stage where, you know what, just go for what you desire. And that is the whole essence of expectation. You get into a place where you know assuredly, I am in partnership with Christ Jesus, my inexhaustible source. Bible says that I am meant to receive grace for grace out of his fullness. The word fullness, another word for it is plenitude. In other words, out of his inexhaustible abundance. When I don't see the inexhaustible of his abundance, the inexhaustible plenitude of his abundance, then I will get anxious. I'm going to give you a short testimony. Last month, July, was a very remarkable month for us. A very remarkable month. We had projects because we're increasing our portfolio. In fact, our portfolio is actually doubled. That's a miracle in itself. Because it is doubled, and it's doubled in one day. So we needed a lot of finances. When you're putting up an apartment, there's so much to spend and to do. So I had a bit of apprehension and anxiety in my soul that how will we be able to fund this and yet still pay our recurring expenses, as well as pay salaries, because we pay ourselves salaries. So I had that concern, and I was thinking, what do we do? Do we just delay this thing and all? No. But I sensed that the Spirit of God was nudging us to go ahead. Whatever you need to do, just go ahead. Stop looking at the figures in the bank. Church, I'm not joking. I've never embarked on such dimension of expenses without being sure of a source. We just proceeded. We proceeded. We discussed with the builder. We discussed with whoever. We just went ahead. But there was nothing to show. Do you know? You can't believe this. Honestly speaking, you cannot believe. In fact, that's one of the things that's inspiring me to preach this message. When you're about to pay a certain amount to the builder, or a certain amount to get this, and these are not small amounts, suddenly, God provides. Last month, I had the kind of bookings that brought in chunks of money. So these chunks of money, and this chunk, they'll come in like maybe one day before the next obligation. I didn't have any hand in this. Honestly speaking, this thing it almost looked like magic to me. Forgive me for using that language. But this is how it looked like. So at the end of the day, by the end of yesterday, we have, let me say, completed 95% of the project. And I look back and I say, what? How did these monies come in? They came in because we have an inexhaustible source. Let me tell you, you will never be able to experience the inexhaustibility of your source until you put it to task. It's scary, I tell you. It's very scary. But God expects you to take that step. Make plans. Make your plans according to your revelation of the plenitude of God's inexhaustible grace. See, I think about last month, and It's as if I actually walked on water.
But let me just add something here, please. When he was looking, because I'm into finance and accounting, and then I told my husband, you see, we need to, I was just trying to tell him, look, it's not adding up, because what we want to do it's much bigger than what is. My husband now reminded me, remember, because he says something about whatever according to the level of your revelation. So he now reminded me, said, remember the Lord told us upfront to enlarge the place of your tent, stretch forth the curtain of your habitation, strengthen the stake and lengthen the cord. So when he reminded me, I said, okay, that is true. Let us go ahead, because it wasn't making sense at the point. But then he reminded me the basis of the enlargement was because God had told us to do that upfront. That's how we now went hook, line, and sinker, enlarging without any physical basis for the enlargement. And as we proceeded, the Lord, anytime we come to a certain point, the Lord will always supply. So when he says something like, let the revelation you have be the basis of whatever, it's important to have the word, you're holding on to the word and not onto the circumstance. And the Lord will always honor his word. Praise the Lord.
Amen.
Hallelujah.
Amen.
Hallelujah. Church, it is so exciting. Listen to me. At a point, it's as if, this is how it felt to me, as if the windows of heaven opened and there was rain. But what are we talking about? What are we talking about? Is he not our Father? Is he not our Father? Is he not aware of your needs even before you mention it? Oh, Yakata Karikaturia. We will, by the grace of God, cultivate the practice of walking on water. That's what you're called to do. That's what you're called to do. So the point I'm trying to make here is, when your heart is freed up, then it is the conducive atmosphere for you to begin to articulate great expectations based on your powerful imaginative powers. I was talking with one of you here. I won't mention the person's name. But just talking with her, I was amazed at the kind of innovative ideas that were just spilling out of her mouth. I said, God, so you have put this kind of wisdom into our imagination. This beloved sister can see 10 opportunities in a specific scenario that some of us may not even, in fact, many of us may not even see opportunities. What we might be seeing is difficulty. So talking with this sister, I myself am saying, wow, God in heaven, let the rivers of innovation just keep flowing out of our bellies, because it's going to help your expectation. God said, bring your cup, I will cause it to overflow. God said, bring out your net. Hey, bring out your net. Throw out your net in the direction I pointed you into. That net will not have the capacity to receive what I've prepared for you. This Jesus, inexhaustible. He's not just inexhaustible. Please note it. He's not just inexhaustible. You have to note and understand his disposition. He's magnanimous. He has a largesse heart. He's radically generous. So how does that affect you? how it affects me is I need to up my game as far as my expectations are concerned. And so the point I'm making today is that, do you see how the testimonies of today dovetailed into the message? Sister Ivy, he said, I'm feeling very light, I'm feeling very liberated. Sister Mercy is saying the same thing. Sister Lily is saying the same thing. Lily Grace is saying the same thing. You know why? Because you need the helium effect in your heart. Helium effect. That is, you need that lightness in your heart so as to begin to ascend away from the dust, from the realms where spiritual wickedness and evil are almost trying to choke your heart. And when you begin to lift out of those contentious, anxious realms, and you come into that light-hearted position that Christ has ordained you to be, honestly speaking, that is when you can dream. That's when you can dream. Some people are saying, Pastor Robert, I'm struggling with paying my mortgage. I'm struggling with paying my rent. How can I be dreaming of a mansion? That's the mistake you're making. That's why you have become a victim of that master, that master devil who knows how to engage people unprofitably, actively engage people unprofitably. So because you are too preoccupied with paying your mortgage, you don't have the capacity or the heart to start dreaming about your mansion. Because you're too occupied with your 9-to-5 job, you don't have the capacity to receive the business, a business that God wants to give to you. Oh God, please. Lord, help us, help us, help us, help us, help us. This August, everybody living under capacity, everyone living a life, standard of life that God has not ordained for you. You are living below the standard God has established for you this month. God deliver us.
Amen.
I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't know. But usually, God will expose you to qualities of life that will challenge you. God will expose you to realms of wealth and riches that will inspire you. So this month, let me say, please listen to me, church. This month, there's going to be so much adventure. So much adventure. But don't be afraid. Don't be afraid, because Jehovah is very much in control. Just imagine that God, this month is a month of Disneyland for you. And your Father in heaven said, come, my daughter, my son, come. Let's go have some fun. Obviously, if you take me to Disneyland or Thorpe Park is the one where they have the most dangerous rides in this world, I will not go. Or instead, just take me to where we'll have my coffee and my muffin, while all of you can be doing rides. I'm just comfortable there and be watching all the Why they scream, I don't know. Why did they go there in the first place if they didn't go there to scream? So, but God is saying, no. My son, I want you to come on an adventure with me. August, a month of great adventures. I will take you to heights you'll be scared of. But you don't need to be scared of, because it's me taking you to those heights. You will meet with people that will almost intimidate you. But you don't need to be intimidated, because God is just simply trying to bring you into your rightful inheritance and place. Some of you are saying, Pastor Robert, you don't know my situation. I'm deep inside the hole. I don't know how I'm going to come out of it. I'm hissing. You know why I'm hissing? Wherever you are, who created that place? Who Who told you that God cannot reach out into the very depths of the sea? Are there not living organisms in the very depth of the sea? Is God not involved in depths of the sea? Where do you think you are that God cannot reach out to you? My problems are too enormous. They're just too enormous. I cannot dream at this stage. The time has come for you to free up the ram of your heart. The only thing that should operate in your heart is faith. I don't want, see, God did not create your heart to entertain things like fear, to cope with things like anxiety, to function with things like guilt, to operate with things like condemnation. No. That's why these things we're preaching to you, I have taken time, and I'll still continue to do it. I don't care. I'll continue to do it to tell you why you must regularly claim your innocence. You must regularly claim your innocence. How? By regularly receiving the gift of righteousness. I told you that the gift of righteousness, why the Bible says that you should be receiving the gift of righteousness is because every time you receive the gift of righteousness, you are indirectly claiming and asserting your justification. Anytime you are asserting your justification, you know what you're doing? You are claiming your discharge and your acquittal. You are claiming your clearance from anything that speaks of guilt, that you are cleared of it. You are appropriating that gift of clearance of all guilt. Listen to me. When you do that, you know what you're doing? Those of you that have iPhones, do you know how you shut down your apps? Do you know how you shut down? How many of you know? Some of you probably don't know. There are probably like 30 apps operating in your phone, and you don't know why it is slowing down. But if you want to know how to, how many of us know? How many of you know how to shut down apps that you're not using? Just if you know, raise up your hand. They don't know.
What do you mean?
No, what I mean, raise up your hand on the chat. There's a way of raising up your hand. So you would don't know how to. Okay, only Sister Lily Grace. Jesus. You need to call me. I need to show you. Okay, Sister Ify, Sister Kelechi. Okay, you are very smart. All of you who are reading. Okay, you are very smart. What prompts you to shut down those apps? What prompts you? How often do you shut down?
Please teach us.
You know what? I will. Don't worry. After the broadcast, I'll get my son to do it for you. Once you shut down those apps that you are not using now, you will see how fast your phone is responding. Your phone will operate at optimal speed. Listen to me. The time has come for us. You know, when you are appropriating the gift of righteousness, what you're doing is you are clearing out your heart. Every guilt that is trying to stain your heart, every accusation, every condemnation, every fear, every anxiety is being cleared out. Because the whole essence of the gift of righteousness is that you are in a position. Let me tell you, one of the strongest scriptures that gives me impetus, spiritual impetus, is the scripture that says, the hope of the righteous is gladness.